Today we will be making a couple of my favorite recipes that show you just how simple, portable, and delicious eating paleo with your busy, on-the-go schedule really can be. Cashew ginger bites, southwestern omelet muffins, and smoked salmon collard wraps. Yummy! Stay tuned to the end of today's episode where you'll discover how to win one of my very favorite things to be successful eating paleo on the go. I'm your host, Camille Macries, paleo chef, lover of good food and vibrant health. Each week, Camille's Paleo Kitchen brings you special guests, recipes, fun tips and tricks, along with a giveaway of one of my favorite kitchen tools that will leave you inspired and excited to cook at home for you and your family. It's all happening now on Camille's Paleo Kitchen. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 2 of Camille's Paleo Kitchen. We are talking about one of my very, very favorite topics, paleo on the go, because we live our lives on the go, right? And it's really important that we know how to feed ourselves good food when you're out and about in the world. So that's what we're going to do today. So the first recipe that I'm going to make for you has literally been a life changer for me. It is a southwestern omelet muffin. So it is this little package of love with lots of veggies and delicious tasting meat and eggs. And then it has a nice little southwestern inspired kick to pay homage to my hometown of Taos, New Mexico. So when I was first starting to eat paleo, I was really excited about it because I was feeling really good and I was at home most of the time. But then life started to get busy, as it always does, and I found myself having to, go to meetings and do lots of different things outside of the house. And so I didn't really know at the beginning how to prepare myself. And I remember really distinctly one day where I had to get up for an early morning meeting. So I rush, I get myself dressed and I get down there and I'm like, oh my gosh, I am going to lose it. I walk outside of this convention center that I'm in and I start to look around, assess the scene, hoping to find something healthy. And I see 2 golden arches. And instantly, this part of me remembers back to childhood. I mean, it's 8 o'clock in the morning, right? And so I remember back to eating sausage, egg, and cheese McMuffin. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to get myself some eggs and some sausage, and I'm going to be good. And as soon as I pull up, the little top guy says, hello, can I take your order? And almost as if I had been taken over by something, I said, I would like a sausage, egg, and cheese value meal, please, with a large orange juice. Okay, great. And so I drive up and, because I didn't have any food in my belly, because I was already sort of like ravishingly hungry, my better judgment about what I should be eating went out the window. I went back to my meeting. I was foggy-headed. I was mad at myself. My stomach was all gurgly and weird. And it was just a huge bummer. And I knew then that if I was really going to be successful with doing this paleo thing, I was going to have to become a planner, or at least enough so that this wouldn't happen again. So anyway, that's really how this dish was inspired. For those days when I knew I had early mornings, I needed to just get something really quick that would taste really delicious, but also be like super fast to make. So these omelet muffins are great for that because, I make big batches of them and then you can actually freeze them individually. And then if you have to take it out and put it in the oven or put it in the microwave, it's like boom, done in just 30 seconds. So that is why this is one of the most amazing recipes I have in my arsenal, and I'm really excited to share it with you. You might remember this from the last episode, but we actually gave one of these away. This is just another kind of food processor that helps me to to cut things up really fast. You can also use a hand shredder. You can use the blade of your food processor. But what I'm trying to do here is just create a nice small shred of my first ingredient, the sweet potato, which is, we're just going to put a little bit of this at the bottom of our omelet muffin to give it like a nice little crust. It's just these nice, really small shreds. You can do a slightly larger shred, but the reason why I liked it small is because we're not going to be pre-cooking them. And the omelet muffins are actually going to cook pretty fast. So having a smaller shred is going to make sure that the sweet potato actually cooks. And as with most everything that I cook, I don't really like to use measurements. And just know that even the recipe is a guideline. It's never exact. I want you to begin to learn to just taste your foods and see how you like it for yourself. If you want to add ingredients or take things away or add more salt, you know, that you can do that. And this recipe is merely a template. The other thing that's great about this omelet recipe is, so I'm doing Southwestern flavors today, but you can do all different kinds of flavors. You can make it Italian, you can make it Moroccan, you can make it just like super plain. I'm just giving you the fundamentals and then adding my flair, and then I want you to add your flair when you make this at home, okay? So we have our sweet potatoes here. And now to that, I'm just gonna add a little bit of salt. Now, normally I'm not a fan of the aerosol sprays, but for this recipe, it really is pretty important. So I'm just gonna do a little spray here, your muffin tin. So I just have a muffin tin here that is that's lined with some muffin papers. You don't have to put muffin papers, but you know, since we're talking about paleo on the go, it's sort of nice to be able to have something to, you know, sort of support it. And you also know it's not going to get stuck to the pan. So I'm just going to put a little tiny dollop of sweet potatoes here at the bottom. So something like this recipe, typically when I make this, when I make omelet muffins or when I make frittatas, I will seriously make like 7, 8, or 9 trays of them all at the same time, maybe on a Sunday afternoon. And then you have it once, and then you can stock up your freezer with it. So here we just have our little base crust of sweet potato. So we're just gonna make a couple chops, throw it in, and this is gonna allow it to bounce around. So now I have a pan behind me that's been preheating. We're gonna saute up these onions with a little bit of this jalapeno. Just gonna give this a careful little cut. There's this oil that even if they don't necessarily taste spicy, you wanna be really careful that you don't get jalapeno juices in your eyes. Let me tell you, I've done that. So I'm gonna pop that into my food processor. Now we're going to put this into our saute pan and just saute this for a couple minutes. All right, so now that our onions and our jalapenos are being a little bit sauteed and browned, I have a pound of this really, really nice grass-fed ground beef from TX Bar Organics that I absolutely love. I like to get the fattier, more marbled beef. It has a much better flavor. Okay, so now I added the beef into the pan and it's sizzling away. I'm gonna add some salt now for taste. It's really important when you're salting that you don't just try to put all of your salt on at the end. You want to actually salt your food in layers. So I'm going to add a nice little dose of Celtic sea salt right now. And I'm going to get the meat nice and browned and mixed in with the onions and the jalapenos. So now that we have the beef, which is pretty much all the way cooked and has like a nice little bit of brown on the outside, I'm going to add in my cumin. And this is Hatch New Mexican green chilies. As far as I know, these actually only grow in New Mexico, and they're really, really special. If you can find them at your supermarket, the brand is actually Hatch. And these are pretty mild. Sometimes they're a little bit spicier. But so now I'm going to put in all of these green chilies, and I have about a tablespoon of cumin. Now I'm going to chop up our fresh cilantro. I just cut off the stems. You can save these if you want to throw this into your bone broth later on. Toss this in. Obviously these are going to be going in the oven, but as a rule of thumb, these soft, delicate herbs I put in as late in the process as I can. So I have a dozen eggs that I have cracked into this bowl here. We're just going to give these a little whisk. Now, as I whisk, I'm going to add a little bit more salt in because, like I said, we want to lightly salt each component. That's really going to make a difference in your finished recipe. It's also really important, if you can get your hands on it, in most places you can now, to get pastured organic eggs. These are going to have a much, much higher nutrient content. They're going to be loaded with things like vitamin D and choline and all the things you really want to have in your egg yolks that a lot of times is devoid in those, big time commercial egg brands. Now we're going to add our meat back in. Okay, I'm just going to give it a little taste, make sure it's seasoned properly. That's yummy. Now, you don't need to do these in the omelet, in the little omelet cups if you don't want to. You can make it as a frittata if you like, which is basically a crustless quiche. And also, again, because this is just a template of a recipe, if you, for whatever reason, are doing a lower carb type of diet, you can definitely take out the sweet potatoes. You can add in more veggies. The sky is the limit. Oh my gosh, I really wish that you were in the kitchen with me smelling these smells right now. It smells just like home. You actually can feel the spice and the smoke of the cumin and the chilies and the jalapenos and just that rich, meaty savoriness of this amazing grass-fed beef. All right, so now that we have our little tray full, we are going to add our eggs to our little muffins of love, and it is going to be delicious. Now, you don't want to fill it up too full because, as you're going to see, like that, even that one is a little bit full. It is going to get really puffy. We have our oven preheating at 350, and I'm going to just put down a little rimmed cookie sheet just in case this overflows. It's a possibility that a couple of these will. So we're just going to pop this in the oven and go on to our next recipe. Okay, now we are going to make a really, really fast, awesome, healthy wrap-up that you can take on the roll. We are going to start with, do you know what this is? Anybody? These are collard greens. You see this thick rib right here? We're just going to slice this out with a sharp little knife. And we are going to fill it up. What I'm going to do today is some really nice wild Alaskan salmon, some capers, a little bit of avocado, has so much healthy fat in it, and it's so creamy and delicious. A little bit of this awesome Primal Kitchen mayonnaise. It is so good, made with avocado oil. A little bit of lemon juice. A little bit of red onion and some salt and pepper. Basically, we're just going to start and we're going to wrap it up like a burrito. And just sort of, overlapping these two ends where we took the stem out. A slice. And give it a scoop. Boom, boom, boom. I'm going to add just a little bit of red onion. This onion is pretty spicy. Add my capers. I love capers, so I'm going to be sort of liberal with these. Okay, now from there, I'm just going to do a little squeeze of lemon. Make sure that you don't get, I just like to put my hands over it so that you don't get any of the seeds, like a little seed cage. A little bit of pepper. Now our awesome creamy mayonnaise goodness. Now I'm just going to pinch this up and roll it like a little burrito. But then when I cut it, I'm still actually going to cut it right down in that place where the stem came out. And there you have it, our super fast, super delicious, loaded with healthy fats and protein little wraps that you can just make up in the morning and take with you for a really healthy, awesome lunch or snack. All right, now let's move on to the next recipe. So I took this recipe from Paleo Magazine, toasted cashew ginger bites. Don't they look so good? So the first thing it says to do is toast your cashews. So I did that, and I'm just going to put those into my food processor. I'm going to chop these up. And I'm going to add some maple syrup. Then I have a little bit of ginger. A little bit of cinnamon. This is from the holiday issue, and I can smell the holidays. Little bit of salt, a little sweet and salty awesomeness like you get in salted caramel. Coconut oil. Oh, so good. What's nice about the coconut oil is once the balls are all formed, we're going to put them in the refrigerator, and the coconut oil is going to get nice and hard, and it's going to form nice, tight coconut balls. That up. Beautiful. From there, I'm going to add my dates. This calls for pitted dates, and the way that I did that, you just sort of pull it open. These are medjool dates, so they're really gooey, and pull out the pit from the middle. I'm going to top those in. I'm going to process that up again. Whoa! The best smelling version of a Larabar you've ever seen. Wow. That's really good. And a little piece of parchment paper. And I'm just going to roll them into balls. Just like so. And drop them on the paper. And then once I finish rolling all of these up, we are going to pop them in the fridge for a couple hours so that the nuts have a chance to cool down and the coconut oil can harden back up. All right, we got the omelet muffins out of the oven and put them in this cute little bowl to show all of you. Then we have our finished smoked salmon and collard wraps. And our delicious toasted cashew and date bites. So now, the moment you've all been waiting for, our giveaway. This last week, we gave away the Salad Master machine, you'll remember. And if you want to find out who won, you want to make sure that you go over to paleokitchen.tv to see if you won last week and then to submit your entry this week. So just to remind you, the way that you are eligible to win these giveaways is you make one of these 3 dishes here today, and you're going to upload a picture of that dish to Instagram and hashtag Paleogasm. And this week we are giving away these awesome Pyrex storage containers. So I chose these because this was the Paleo on the Go episode, and this is really my favorite way to package up and store all of my food. The reason why these Pyrex are really, really great is because they are glass on the bottom, which means that like if you're going to put hot food in it, it's not going to have all of this plastic and toxins potentially leaching into your food. It also means that when you make something, you can pop it into the freezer, and then you can pop it into the microwave or to the oven. And you can also just, with the plastic lid, you can take it with you where you want to go. Now, along with the Pyrex storage containers, I'm also going to be giving you a free copy of my Paleo Cooking at Home series. It has 17 videos, tons of recipe templates, including more recipe templates for on-the-go recipes, and a whole bunch of other awesome things. So next week is a really, really, really awesome episode. I am personally very excited for it because I will be joined by Mark Sisson, who I call the godfather of the paleo movement. You already saw his Primal Kitchen Mayo, and he's actually going to be joining us next week, where we're going to talk about some more fast paleo meal strategies and debunk some of those really insidious paleo misconceptions that you may have been hearing about. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next week.